Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killerrodan. And today, well, all I can really say is, well, here's a room I was really hoping to never be a part of again. Ugh. Today, I'm going to be reviewing a graphic novel called JSA All-Stars Glory Days. I figured I would review this since, to the fact I have not reviewed a comic book, or let alone any book for that matter, lately, folks. So I figured, what the hell? I figured, why the hell not? I'll review this fucking thing. I guess I'll review this book, folks, even though, honestly, I much rather have a bad case of diarrhea than review this book. Let's just put it that way, folks. But let's look at the cover. The cover itself looks pretty standard, with Power Girl up in the front and her teammates in the back. I guess he's supposed to be the leader, I suppose, folks, in this thing here. Anyway, as always, let's get into the plot of this thing, shall we? Oh yeah. This is more of a spin-off series kind of a thing that's kind of connected to the previous stuff. The Justice Society of America spin-off series group barely survived their first mission alone, so in this case they survive in two separate groups. So in this one, folks, they have a mission to do, folks, of course. They have been separated in two separate groups. This was done because of the fact they were separate from each other to cover more ground, so to speak. Oh yeah. The group that Power Girl is with is pretty much assigned to go to a particular area so that they can investigate this bizarre drug operation that's going on here, folks. Even though it was never explicitly explained what sort of drug it was exactly, but it did drive some people crazy over here, folks, on this particular island. Yeah, but that's the thing, folks. You know, did Power Girl have to get her friends along with her? It sounds like something she could have handled herself. And because, you know, she's extremely powerful, and I guess the plot said so, I guess. Yep, I guess so. Power Girl doesn't show up all that much and doesn't do much because there's a bunch of other characters here. Then the question here is that I'm wondering, then why is Power Girl on the cover of this book at all, for that matter? And I don't know, I guess the plot said so, I guess a wizard must have done it. One of my many complaints about this book is that it doesn't focus on one particular character. Maybe it's several too many, I guess. Yeah, there's a part of the book where it focuses on this character for a brief moment, and there's like clones or cyborgs of the character. This part of the story takes a good chunk of the book itself, folks, and not focus upon Power Girl either, really. Which makes me feel that Power Girl was just thrown in there because I guess the plot said so, I suppose. I mean, I do get the idea that this is supposed to be like team up kind of a superhero book, which is fine if the execution is done right, but there's a severe lack of character development in any of them, actually. So that's a big disappointment there. The overall plot just comes off, it's all over the place, folks, quite honestly, because there's a few things he wants to stay focused upon, kind of. There's also another section of the book where it talks about these agents and gods that are inside the minds and the hearts of these particular people and whatnot, and that's just the only beginning, I guess you can say, because as these agent beasts are going rapid and their minds and bodies back on Earth, this takeover will split the team up. So that's going on, folks, in that little conflict there, I suppose. This could have been a much better book, folks, but at the end of the day, I didn't like it all that much. And yet the whole thing with the cloning kind of thing that was going on earlier, Max lied, the character with the red hair, she was pretty much struggling to live a normal life in the midst of her losing her superpowers, so to speak, and it has to deal with the consequences of others handling her abilities, so to speak. While the All-Star group helps to liberate the Planet X people from that invasion of this other group as well. So yeah, this whole book feels so disconnected, and some things just happen because, again, the plot said so, folks. Oh yeah. If the script for this book was tightly put together better, I would have liked it a bit more, actually. And she does go to this particular school, I guess. I think that's kind of weird that it would take place in a high school, even though there's more important things to focus upon. Yeah, she has a friend right here, folks, and this one friend had actually snuck into her studies when she wasn't around, and finds out that she knows some spells and whatnot and just mess around, which caused later on some great havoc. In retrospect, I feel like this didn't need to happen, but it did because I guess the plot said so again. Oh, come on now. And this around the same time she's having these clones, these cyborgs and whatnot happening. And then at the same time, do we get to see this hologram girl, whom really doesn't have much of a personality actually. And this is somehow tied in with the whole thing with the other group of superheroes, which Power Girl's involved in. I mentioned a moment ago, they have to stop this invasion from occurring on this particular place. And like I said, there's way too much crammed into this book, folks. And also, there's this whole bullshit romance kind of a thing that had been occurring for a good chunk of the book, which, if you ask me, feels incredibly shallow. It doesn't really anything happen, really. Oh, because the plot said so. The plot says there has to be a chemistry here. Yeah, that doesn't feel contrived at all. No, yes, folks, before I forget to mention, speaking of forced romances and whatnot, this book does speak about right in the beginning with the Judo Master character, because she's all depressed at the fact that her husband was dead, has been killed off, and this pretty much amounts to nothing in the entire book. She pretty much acts like he's the single greatest superhero of all time or whatever, and pretty much goes nowhere. And again, I guess, because the plot said so, I guess, folks. And yes, just so you know, this goes into the whole multiverse DC kind of thing, which kind of pisses me off to some degree, because before this, there would be something with Power Girl in other comic books, which won't be connected to anything that Superman is doing in his own comic books or whatever. And then Power Girl, years later, will have her own thing going on with a brand new series. Then not just that, recently she's doing something with Drogo's girlfriend. And yes, even Wonder Woman could have her own series as well. Before they start a brand new series, and they did the same thing with Supergirl, she had a lengthy run with the graphic novels before they just pressed start over with a 52 series. So yeah, there's a lot of this going on, but none of which are connected to this per se, really, folks. But then it just makes me want to scratch my head and just try to figure out just what the hell is going on exactly, really, folks. This isn't making much sense here, folks. And not only that, Power Girl got beat up way too often and way too damn easy. She's extremely powerful, and she just gets beat up really easy. She got taken down like a little bitch. Which pisses me off, because when it comes to DC characters, with their female characters, she's definitely one of my favorite superheroes. So what the hell, DC? Come on, she got taken out too damn easy. Yes, I know, before anyone says it, I know this is going to sound incredibly shallow, but I pretty much bought this book mainly because of her. Yet, she got beat up really easily? Come on! I know some people might be thinking I'm just nitpicking it or whatever, folks, but in some ways it just pissed me off. And she was not the central focus of the book at all. So again, it does beg the question as to why she should be even on the cover to begin with. I don't get it. This comes off false advertisement here, folks. So, bottom line here, folks, this wasn't particularly good. Another complaint I have to make about this book is that it's too damn lighthearted. It's too soft. It's too lighthearted. It doesn't bother taking any risks at all, folks. So yeah, in some ways, it just came out boring. Really, really boring. I honestly cannot recommend this novel, folks. I mean, if you want to read it out of curiosity's sake, sure, be my guest, I guess. But it's not something I would call a masterpiece at all, folks. I really did not like it at all. Anyway, JSA All-Star Glory Days. This graphic novel gets an overall rating of a 4.5 out of 10. It gets a 4.5 out of 10 for me. And as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Oh yeah,